Welcome back to Light Beyond the Ashes, the podcast where science meets spirituality and awakening becomes embodied. I'm your host, Amber Humphrey. Some conversations feel like soul remembrance. This is one of them. This week I am joined by Ashtyn Barrett, certified occupational therapy assistant, soul sister, and someone whose spiritual journey reflects what so many are quietly experiencing right now. Ashtyn was raised in the church like so many, and Jesus was woven into her earliest memories: love, faith, devotion, and belonging. But as life unfolded, so did her questions, not from doubt, but from a deeper longing to know God beyond the walls she was given. In this conversation, we talk about what it means to expand your faith without betraying it, how her relationship with Jesus transformed, not into separation, but into a living, breathing connection with God. We explore how awakening doesn't pull you away from God, it brings you closer. How divine guidance, inner knowing, and recent spiritual downloads open new layers of sight, awareness, and soul remembrance. And once it began, everything changed. If this conversation resonates with your soul, take a moment to like and subscribe so you can continue expanding your own knowing, remembrance, and connection as these stories unfold. Welcome back to Light Beyond the Ashes, the podcast where we talk about all things spiritual, healing, and trauma. And this episode is very special to me. Today, I have my very good friend, Ashtyn Barrett, here. She's a certified occupational therapy assistant, and we've worked together for the last 5 years. She's also a Reiki practitioner training, and she does cranial sacral. So this has been a very, very beautiful time in both of our lives, Ashtyn. And I'm so excited to have you on the show so we can kind of talk about the evolution of what it was like to be growing up in the Bible Belt and having the religious experience to then having a spiritual experience.
Yes.
So welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy. So tell the world a little bit about just kind of how we got to this moment. And you're an ordinary person just like I was before you had an awakening, right?
Right. Yeah. I grew up, right, like Baptist. You go to church every Sunday. This is what you do. This is what the Bible says. This is what God tells you to do. And if you don't do X, Y, and Z, like this is frowned upon. And then you better repent. You better pray, because guess what? God's coming back and you go to heaven or you go to hell. And, it's one of those things where I feel like it just put a lot of fear in you. It was more like fear-based. But I went every Sunday, and I think for me, it was, I always knew God and I felt kind of close, but then I also felt like there was also like this space between us. And then as I got older, even though I got baptized and I did all the things, and I, of course I try to live my life the way the Bible says, but it was almost feeling like I would have never been able to meet the standards because nobody's perfect. Am I supposed to repent every single day for everything I do?
Right.
I think is the big thing for me.
And I think that, like, I grew up in the church as well, and I went every Sunday. I was Lutheran, but really non-denominational. Out in Katy, it was Cross Point Lutheran Church, and I just felt, moved by the music and moved by the messages, but I also then felt disconnected in that space. I didn't always feel safe, with every group of people that were like in the church. And I think that I found more of my people as the misfits and the people who didn't really fit in, or the people who had trauma, the people who were the others and outcast. And that is kind of where I felt like I landed too, is I didn't quite fit in to like the mainstream of what a good person would look like, I guess. But I felt like I was always a good person. But there was always this presence of judgment within, like, growing up in the church. Did you feel that as well?
I did. I think it was really hard to meet the standards. And if you didn't meet the standards and stay within this box, I almost felt like you weren't accepted into the groups at church, especially when you're like adolescence and then like teenage years. And so I kind of found myself getting away from it. And for a long time I did. Like I ran from God like real hard. And especially as I got older too, I think that I just I didn't really understand, I guess, the point of it when I felt like all I was doing was something wrong anyways.
Right.
Even though I loved God and I believed in God, I just felt like kind of like what you said, like there was like a space
Yeah.
and like a null in my heart, and I didn't really understand it.
And I think for me, there was a lot of like fear-based thinking of like, if you do this, then this, and
Mhm.
versus, when you finally get to Jesus's teachings, and like in my confirmation, like when I was 15 years old, we had Bible study at my house, and we'd read through Matthew, and you're reading like what Matthew experienced through this gospel of Jesus and who he was, this real person who taught miracles and who healed people miraculously and didn't care
Yeah.
if you were poor, didn't care if you were a leper, didn't care if you were, you know, the worst of the worst, quote unquote. He was sitting beside you washing your feet versus sitting behind these golden tables and opulence and just feeling better than anyone else. I felt like Jesus was this moment where I was like, oh, Jesus is my homeboy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he sees people like I see people. He's a good, kind person. And so there was
yeah.
that, it was kind of a disconnect of, am I this beautiful,
Mm,
loving, accepting of all people, or am I judging and criticizing and casting shame on people who are different, who are in the LGBTQ community, or who are
yeah,
poor, or had bad life circumstances, or addicts? Like, isn't that who we're supposed to lean on the most and support the most? Did you find
exactly.
that disconnect too?
Yeah, whenever I've been to several churches because we would stay at one for a while and then we would hop to another one, as a family. And then as I got older, I kind of was trying to find my home, I guess you could say. And I think for me, there was a lot of judgment within the churches that I found, and if people didn't look a certain way or act a certain way, or people that have gone through hard things in life and then they finally decided to turn their life to God, I feel like no matter what, even though they changed their lives, it's for the better. I feel like there was still a lot of judgment on that, and I found it really hard to be able to accept that,
Hmm.
and I think that's what made it easier for me to like disconnect and then to just not want to be part of it.
And I think like we grow as adults, and we're looking for peace and comfort. And sometimes you're looking for that in friends, or you're looking for that in going out
Hmm.
and, vacations, and you're looking for it to be filled by something else. But when I started going through some really hard times, for which you were a part of,
Yeah,
very up close and
yeah,
personally, and several others, you stood witness for me, and I've stood witness for you as we've found this true divine connection that is so outside of the box, that is so not within the confines of what I've been
yeah.
taught is God and Jesus and our capabilities as humans. And now I find that we're just blossoming, and this love, this acceptance, this peace has now brought power and fire back into my spirit. And I've
Yes,
seen that happen for you too.
yes, definitely. I think for a long time I felt so empty, and now I look back, but then I look back at myself now and I'm like, wow. Like you said, there is a fire within me and I feel good. And
Mhm.
I'm thankful for everything I've gone through to get where I am right now. I feel great.
I see the transformation in you,
Yeah.
and I've seen how you and I we've really leaned on each other. And I talk a lot about my TikTok besties and my spiritual besties, but in the flesh and in the real world, for which is tangible for me to grab onto, you were always there. And we would just voice memo each other back and forth and be like, all right, girl, this is what's happening to me. What's happening to you? And it just started to become this beautiful relationship where it was no more of like, okay, I'm your supervisor, or you're my
Yeah.
assistant, my OT assistant. This is now we're soul sisters, and let's do this. I guess we're finding God, the real God, together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that how you experienced it too?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think ever since I met you though, like I feel like I connected with you. So you were always like my boss, my supervisor, like all the things, but it also still felt like a deeper connection. And I think until we both were going through things that were so emotional and so traumatic, I don't think I understood the connection. But really, it was just God like pulling us together, being like, hey guys, you need each other,
Mm-hmm.
and power up.
Oh
So I
yeah.
think that was like the biggest thing for me.
I just remember in those early days when I had lost faith for a period of like decades, right? Like
Yep.
I'd always say I believe in energy because you can feel it.
Yeah.
And I believed in that there was something beyond because I loved mediumship and I loved like channeling and like listening to people do. I thought it was just so fascinating. I never had done it before. I'd paid for mediums and tap in and like all that kind of thing. And it was just, I knew that there was something missing in my life. And then when I had that moment where my life fell apart, for me, it was in an instant. Found God the literal next day. Like I had been building up to it,
Yeah.
but you and a few of the other girls had been praying for me. And I was just like so grateful for the prayers because I didn't know how powerful they really were.
Hmm.
But your prayers got me through some really hard times. And I know that our group, we have like a little prayer tribe where we pray for each other. And I find that it does bring respite. It does bring peace. It does bring healing. Every time we've prayed over one of our family members, something better has happened.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that what you've seen too?
Yeah, definitely. I remember one day I came into the office and you were on the ground. And I remember we just, there was a couple of us, but I remember we just were praying over you because your heart was so broken. And I just remember like we just sent you so much love and God sent so much love. So I think even like, I swear right after that, like you were a little lighter and a little
Mhm.
brighter. Obviously, things were really heavy, but I think that it's one of those things. You gonna cry? I'm gonna cry.
Cry.
But I just think that if it's one of those things that God puts people together for a reason,
Mhm.
because it's all about love and sending that.
And that's so true because I found that the more I loved you, the more I loved other people,
Hmm.
like the better we all felt. Like
Yeah.
love was, I literally listened to a song on the way here called Love is the Medicine. And
Hmm.
it just makes me smile every single time. It's because when I wrap my mom in love, then she does better. When I wrap my dad in love, he does better. And they
Yep.
have all these diseases and all these things that are happening. I'm like, how do you get better? And then I'm in deep sorrow and deep grief. And you pray over me and you say, I love you. And then I get better.
Yep.
And I do the same for you and all the other girls. And people tend to get better. And you're just like, there's something to this energy.
Hmm.
And I think I started getting really curious by that energy. And with you being someone who already had such strong faith, I do think that you and Misty and Lauren were really important of bringing me closer to God because I didn't have that relationship,
Yeah.
and you did. So then how did you start to discover that it was more than just what you had been, raised with? How did it start to transform for you?
I think for me, it started, I don't know, maybe like 4 years ago. I started going through hard time in my marriage, and we all know it's not easy. But there were just some things that were going on that emotionally I felt like I just couldn't handle. And I felt broken. I felt lost, confused. And I felt like no matter what, even like my days here, like while I was, while I was working, I was going about my days, but I almost couldn't function. Panic attacks, all the things, nothing was making it better. And I'm one of those people. I don't want to be on anything if I don't have to. Not that I'm against it. I want everybody to do what their soul feels like they need to do. I just felt like my soul was crying for something else. I think for me, I went to the an Ayurvedic specialist, and I love her. She was wonderful to me. We started out doing SRT, somatic release therapy, which is
Oh,
just
that's
like,
so cool.
yeah, it's really cool. And it's I at first I was kind of like, all right, what are we doing? But it's just a guided meditation, and you start out with certain things and triggers in your life, and you start with childhood and you work your way up. And I started doing that to release certain emotions. And then I moved into trying to figure out my cortisol levels were super high. So I was working on grounding and learning about that and frequencies,
Mhm.
and understanding the importance in all of those things and how they, count in your body. Well, then I started wondering, okay, well, I'm doing all these things, but it's not getting like I'm getting a little bit better, but I'm still not at peace. There's something in my heart that is not at peace, and I don't know what to do about it. Well, I just started praying and writing and journaling and talking to God about it. And I was like, yeah, I give up. Like, I can't do it. And that I talked to you a lot about it too. And I think I just started realizing, through meditation and all the things that Alicia had taught me through Ayurveda, that it just, I needed God.
Mhm.
God needed me. Like, does
Yeah,
that make sense?
100%. And so where was the Ayurveda place at that you went to? What was it called?
Living holistic.
Where is that located at?
Well, it's in Spring.
Okay.
And she's wonderful, and they have so many wonderful people that are in there too that do different things. Um, she even helped me with like my fertility stuff whenever we were going through it too.
Yeah, Living Holistic is so amazing. They have wonderful practitioners.
They do.
They have like hypnotists on staff. They have everything. They've got counselors, get massage therapy. They've got all these different kinds of holistic healing.
Yeah.
And I did breath work there. I did like the 90 breath work, and I think they still have that going
Yes,
on.
they still have that, and they are incorporating God within it
Mm-hmm.
in scripture, and I think that that's really cool. And then they also have like their own herbal medicine cabinet that they do on their own, which is really cool.
And I think that like it's so funny that you had Ayurveda and I had Ayurveda too. I think Ayurveda for me was either 2021 or 2022. Cole got it for me as a Christmas present, and it was like it wasn't the same.
Yeah, I
Like
was
it was
about to say
completely
it
different.
was a different
It was
place
completely
and
different. Yeah,
everything
it was
too,
over
right?
here in like the
Okay.
Tomball kind of Cypress area,
Yeah.
and it was wonderful. Like Houston Yoga and Ayurveda. I went there. I did yoga. I did. And we did liver detoxes, and I learned about, Indian Eastern medicine. I was like, the heat of the body, the fire of the body. Oh, you're too much this. And I'm like, wait, what? And I started kind of just reconnecting with what my body really was capable of versus just it's a meat suit and I just have to move it from place to place.
Exactly.
It actually has hormones that matter. It actually has, chemicals, bioreceptors, all these different things that you kind of have to take care of. And that's when I started getting closer to myself as well, was in those child poses, and then the
Yeah.
releasing of that somatic pain that had been stored in my body. And just I remember crying in yoga and like, is anyone listening to me? And I hear, oh, she's crying over there too. Good. I guess it's a good one.
We're not alone.
Because the body keeps a score.
Yeah.
And eventually you have a traumatic moment. A lot of us, you have a traumatic moment where your body just says no more.
Yeah.
And that's what you experienced too, is your body said no more.
Like
and you
I
had to heal.
couldn't even almost could not physically drive to work because I had to pull over because I was having panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment that I let God back into my heart, but a different way, like it wasn't like Bible Belt way. It was a complete, just open heart moment. And I think that that is the moment that changed for me.
Yeah. I mean, I remember sitting with you on the floor and you were just, I mean, whether it be heart issues or, blood pressure, like
Yeah.
you were not in a good place. And I wasn't either. Like it was like almost like you and then me and then you and then me and other people. And we'd be collapsing. And I was like, what is happening? But
Like,
it was
literally.
a very physical experience.
Yes.
And I think that people don't understand that, is that when you're healing, it is body, mind, and soul. Like it is all of it. And so you kind of feel like your mind is breaking. You kind of feel like your heart is breaking. You feel like your body's breaking, because in a way it must.
Yep.
In a way it must like shed who you once were so that you can become who you now are and who you were always destined to be, who you were always meant to be. And in that, you are a child of the Creator, child of God, universe source, right? And I think that we can call it different things. We can call it spiritual awakening, spiritual enlightenment. You can call it, elevated consciousness, expanded consciousness, oneness.
It's
You
all
can call
the
it
same.
anything. It's one and the same, right? It's just semantics at this point. But walk me through your experience of seeing me wake up and how that also like triggered you to keep expanding in your gifts, because we've got some stories to tell.
We have some stories. Okay. So first of all, I remember you went into the office one day and I remember you were like, Ashtyn, I found God. And I was like,
me.
oh, that's so good. Like, great. And then you're like, no, really. Like, I found him. Like, he found me, and I was like, this is awesome. And then I remember like, it was like a whole, like, I feel like there's so many stories I could tell, but the main one, like we had a girls' night and I don't know how to word it, but you had gone outside and you were all alone, and you were getting some downloads and all the things, and God's light was channeling you for sure. I just remember you were sitting out in the grass, and it was like what 12
o'clock,
12 o'clock. And I was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, what's she doing? Like, she went outside. I was like, I better go check on her. And I went outside, and you were laid out in the grass, and I was like, what you doing?
I remember.
I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'll sit with you. It's fine. Like,
So when you walk out, let me set the scene.
Yeah, because I'm trying to I'm like, how do we talk about this without it being
Listen, I've got no shame in my awakening game. I'm gonna be real honest. It was real weird. But at this point I was so used to it. And Cole had seen it so many times. A few people had seen it already. And I was like,
and I had never seen it. You and I had talked about it, but I had never seen it.
Yeah. So when you get, and it just happened like 2 nights ago too, which I can't wait to tell you about. But so that night we were all together. It was a few of our friends and we were having a really beautiful night talking, and we were talking about God and we were talking about healing and just this energy. And I remember we were all sitting around the table first before this happened. It was kind of right before we all went to bed. We're sitting in the kitchen table, and I was like, sometimes when the energy is really high, you'll start to vibrate. and one of our friends is like, yeah, it feels really cold in here. She's like shaking. And then I see the next person and the next person. I was like, I said, you can tell them to turn it down if it gets too loud. And so then you all consciously said, turn it down, and your bodies went still. And you're like, everyone was like, what? I'm like, it's real. Like, this is just, it's vibration.
That was new to us. And we were all like, this is weird.
And I said, never said it wasn't. So we had the weird, like our bodies were already vibrating together. We were getting in that coherence. We were resonating together. I was sharing my truth. Y'all were sharing your truths. And it was just like this beautiful amalgamation of energy had come together, right? And they were like, okay, we've talked a lot about trauma. We've all cried together. I think it's time for us to go to bed. So everyone goes upstairs and I'm in bed and I'm like shaking. And they're like, Spirit was talking to me. They're like, good job, kid. And I'm like, guess I did good. What do I got to do? They're like, go ground this in. I was like, this is a lot. So I go downstairs and my little creaky ankles crack, crack, crack. If you've ever heard me go downstairs, I'm not quiet. The gingerbread man leaving crumbs behind. Yeah. My ankle's popping. And then the door goes beep, beep, beep. I was like, oh crap, someone's going to hear me. It's okay. I'll go outside. So I'm outside. I'm laying in the grass. And all of a sudden, what I call it the Christed position, because we've all seen Jesus, unfortunately, like how he's nailed to the cross and his arms are out. And so my body will go up and out and then down. It's almost like having contractions of my whole body. So you came out and I was Amber does not have great core strength, and something I'm working on. However, I'm holding boat pose. But I'm in like boat pose and my arms are out, and then I'm like, my head's back and I'm just like not really breathing. And I'm just like, and you're like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, just give me about 10 to 15 minutes. You're like, all right. And you're like, do we need to call 911? I said, no. I said, this is just what it's like. It's really big energy coming into my heart space. And so then I was like, if you could just hold me or touch me, that would help me ground a lot. Because then we're now both sitting on the grass and then you grounded me. And then it moved, I feel like, a lot faster. But that was, that happens sometimes when I'm getting hit with new downloads, new information, new up-leveling of integration of energies. And they were just so proud of all of us for like reaching that level of releasing, because there was so much releasing that happened that night.
Was a lot.
And when you release, you make room for better. You make room for more. And so I always say I let the light in, because it's not dark. In the past, like I have had dark entities attached, and it feels very different. One feels very scary. One feels very heavy and like almost ominous. And the other one is like, they're talking you through it. They're telling you to take a deep breath. They're telling you to let the light in. And you're like, this is light. And it feels like light. It feels like almost like balls being put in your chest, like boom. And is that kind of what it looked like to you?
Literally like.
Yeah. So then we go back inside.
I do remember like holding on to you, and I was just praying, and you immediately grounded like that. Like it was so fast. But and then we went back inside right after, and you were just like, okay, well, good night.
And you're like, I don't think I can go to bed, Amber.
I did. I was like, I mean, I'm shaking. Like my adrenaline is pumping. Why? How can you just go to sleep? You're like, it's fine. I feel great.
It's just Tuesday. This is Amber After Dark.
I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh, I remember like it was yesterday actually. And then I think you were freshly pregnant, like newly pregnant, like a miracle baby. And like you had called me. I was riding on my bike back from Just Love Coffee with my family one day in the morning. And you always would ask me like, hey, can you tap in? And I always just tap in if people ask. I never tap in without consent, because consent is important and I don't want to violate anyone's privacy. But so you asked me, hey, I have my miracle baby. Is this one going to stick? Is what you asked me. And I'm like, hold on, this is really big pressure right now. I tap in and I hear God say, oh yes. And then I knew it was a girl like that day. And I don't think I told you it was a girl.
You didn't.
I
You
kept
lied
that to myself.
me.
But I said, God's blessing you with this baby. And then you have a beautiful baby Rustin now.
She's great.
And she's just such a little miracle. And the fact that you even trusted me with that to call me, like, what is that like when you get the peace on the other side and then it like is delivered as the blessing?
Exactly what you said. It's just peace. And it feels good. And like, I think, it just really puts that trust in God and opens me up even more. I think it showed me like God was making at the right time, the right space, and
Mhm.
all the right things. If that makes sense, even though I didn't see it at the time,
Mhm.
with my other losses, like it wasn't what we needed when we needed. As much as I love and I appreciate, those souls,
Mhm.
um, I'm okay. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't, yeah, I'm at peace with it because like God gave us what we needed.
Yeah, and I think when people have losses like miscarriages and
Mhm.
like you go through like why me? What's wrong with me? Like these all these
I feel it's
feelings.
like it's almost like you're victimizing yourself a little bit in the
Yeah.
beginning, until you fully, like, understand it, and then you're like, "Okay, God, I got you.
Mhm.
Like, I see what you're doing. I might not always see it, but I'm gonna see it."
Yeah. And I think that when God was able to be like, okay, this is the divine timing for this baby to come into
Mhm,
your life,
mhm.
I saw you come to life. I saw this little rainbow baby turn you into a rainbow. And then over the last, how old is Rustin now?
She's like 15 months, so
15 months, like one
yeah,
and a
yeah,
half.
yeah.
And when I saw you change and shift. And after, like, Briar's always been like this beautiful light in your
Yeah,
life,
that's my
right?
boy,
And he's
yeah.
your boy. And him and Hazel might get married one day. And you
They
might be
going to. I know.
I don't know what you'll be, my mother in law's, whatever it is. But
Yeah,
our kids might just get
yeah.
married because they are in love with each other. Just to see how much these children can heal us in the seasons when we need them the most
Mhm.
is just miraculous.
Well, like, Briar was there for me
Mhm.
when, I was going through a really hard time initially, um, in my marriage, and, like, God knew, "Okay, like, you didn't plan for him, but you're gonna need him," and he was my rock, and then, Rustin came along at the just right time, and again, that's my rock, and, like, God just knows, and it's kinda the same thing with you too, I think,
Mhm.
not to pivot backwards, but, like, thinking about, like, your transformation with God too,
Mhm.
like, the person that I knew, when you and I first started, working together and getting to know each other is a completely different version of the one that I know now. And not that both versions weren't great,
Mhm.
but this version just feels free
Mhm.
and it feels happy and whole and complete and light and filled with love. And I think that that's the version of me that I'm starting to feel too.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I think that it's all good. Like everything that we go through and all the turmoil and all the things that happen in life, it's all good.
It is, and I think that this has taken me a really long time to get to this point of seeing and appreciating, like, how far I have come
Hmm.
because I was, like, the saddest, sickest person, but I cloaked it in smiles, and I cloaked it in jokes, and I was being the funny person, and, like,
Yep.
I tried to be kind to everybody because I was really hurting for a really, really long time. And people don't always know what people are going through, especially behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were able to see some things up close and personal that even my friends and family couldn't see because you were kind of like closer to me in the everyday.
Yeah.
And so to hear you say that you see me as a different person who's got more peace and more light, and that I think I have inspired a lot of people
Yeah.
in this. But when I woke up, I was severely judged. And I think that was the hardest part was that we had Bible studies at work. Like we had, Wednesday prayer
Did.
group and we had
Yeah.
prayer text messages, and that quickly shifted. And it was hard to watch believers of God and these messages of God turn so much on a person who found God. I think that was really painful for me.
I think it's because it's a different version of finding God that we're taught.
Yeah.
And I think that it feels weird and unknown. And so because it's different, it's frowned upon
Hmm.
when really it's all the same. It doesn't matter how you find God. The fact is you believe in God, you love God, you accept God in your heart, and it's all the same.
Hmm.
Um,
And I forgive
yeah.
myself and I forgive all others. I love myself. I love all others. And
Hmm.
that is literally what we're just taught
Yeah.
as children in Bible studies and in church in Sunday school, right? Like
Yep.
love thyself as thy neighbor. And then I was doing that and it was just, oh, did I shine the light into some darkness? And I just didn't expect that. I thought that when I woke up and I was like, I'm choosing to heal myself, that the people who love me would be happy for me. But that was not what I found. Did you find that when you woke up, that when you were finally like tapping into this next level of awakening, did you find that people understood it, or did people not understand you either?
No, people do not understand at all. In fact, sometimes I just choose not to talk about it, even like with my family and everybody, because I feel like they look at me like, uh-huh, okay. And I'm like, let me tell you about what just happened to me. And even my husband is like, okay, yeah, sure. And so I feel like it
Yeah.
just kind of makes you want to like not open up as much about it because you don't want to seem weird, but also like,
And I think that's what's so interesting about that's okay. I think this is the interesting thing about waking up and having the enlightened consciousness, and then being able to tap into spiritual gifts of like clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, and claircognizance, the seeing, the feeling, the knowing, the hearing.
mhm,
That is not discussed like at all. And then I found out that my Granny Lucy, my 99-year-old, she died when she was 99 years old. She had angels. People would call her in the 60s and 70s and 80s and be like, hey, Granny Lucy, what are your angels saying about this and this and this? And I didn't find that out until 2023 when my mom told me, who wasn't even like her blood
yeah,
granddaughter.
yeah.
She was just like, oh, yeah, your Granny Lucy had your gifts too. And I was like, what? Dad? Did Granny Lucy have spiritual gifts? Oh, yeah. People called about her angels all the time.
It's,
Like, why
it's
was
like, why
that not
not tell me?
front and center? Like, that would have been so cool. And I wouldn't have felt so nutso when
Yeah,
I first started hearing and getting these angelic divination callings and prophetic visions that then kept happening, and people tapping in and calling and asking me about things like you did. Is
yeah,
this baby gonna stick? And I'm like, hold on. Phoning God now? Yeah, yes. Okay. Yes, Ashton, this baby.
yeah, yeah.
And it feels kind of crazy. But then, like, I found my select few that, like, just believed me and witnessed it.
Hmm.
And I witnessed you. I witnessed you just go from being this ball of anxiety. Your heart rate was always like the topic of discussion because it was literally really happening. It
Yeah,
was that bad. I don't know
very
if you want to talk
physical.
about like your any kind of cardiac things that you have, but
Oh yeah, no, I have POTS, it's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And basically, my heart is healthy, but my circulation stinks. And so my heart rate will shoot up. I could be sitting and go from sitting to standing, and it can jump up to like 180. And like I'm doing a full blown workout. And I could literally just be sitting here or laying down. During that time, it was so out of control that I almost couldn't work. Remember how I had to go
oh
home
yeah,
so many
oh yeah. I
days
was like, go
or
home,
like
like
lay out?
lay down because you
Yeah,
can't drive. Yeah.
yeah. And it just, it was, and I was doing all the same things I'm doing now. Like it was, nothing has changed other than my relationship with God and my peace within myself, I think.
Hmm.
And my body is a lot more grounded and I'm a lot more in tune with myself. And I think that that has helped me change my whole health, like outlook and where I'm at.
Do you have any of those episodes?
No.
That's so crazy. Miraculous healing is so
Yeah.
real. And, I continue to work through my own journey of that because I think there is a level of belief too, of I have to
Hmm.
believe that I'm healthy. I have to believe that miraculous healing is
Yes.
capable in my body, not just everyone else's. Cause like I see it in everyone else that I touch. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. How'd that happen? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then like when you speak life into yourself and you're like, God is with me. I am safe. I am protected. I am guided. And you're like, every cell
All
in my
day, every
body is
day.
healing. Right. And then you just start seeing things get better. You're like, what the heck?
Yep.
It kinda just, like, piques your interest enough to dive all the way in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. TikTok is like my algorithm is everywhere.
You know
Um,
what, though? TikTok was just, like, this refreshing place that, like, helped, I think, a lot of people wake up,
yeah.
and that's why I do so many TikTok creators on the podcast is because I was like, "Oh, yeah, you are part of my journey." Like, if you're on my TikTok, you are gonna come on my podcast because you're in my algorithm, and I want people to know you because you're so cool, and I think that
Yeah.
you're so smart, and so every guest that I have is someone that I'm following or that I've learned something from, and I think that the world needs to know more about them,
Mhm.
but you're someone in my real world that I
Mhm.
learned so much from about, like, how do you trust in God when everything is falling apart? Like, I remember asking you, be like, if God loves me, why does this keep happening? When is it going to get better? And I just kept having bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happen, perceived bad thing, right? Everything is inherently neutral.
Yeah.
But they were tower moments for me. They were things that had to fall away. They were things that were no longer in alignment, people that were no longer in alignment. And
Takes that away because that is not what you need.
It's what you think you need, but it's
Yes.
not what your soul's craving. And your
Yes.
soul came here for more.
Yeah.
Your soul has, I think we have soul contracts. I believe that we have soul contracts. And obviously, me and you, it's a very, very special contract because in those darkest hours, like I will send a crying, sobbing voice memo to you and you'll send me one right back. And then we're
Yep.
always off. We're not crying at the same time. It's always like
No.
a day to 2 weeks apart.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm like, I'm not okay. And you're like, God's got you, Amber. You're going to get through this. And your voice is always so calming. And then you send me the same things. I'm like, hold on, let me tap in. And I sent you like a 14-minute
You
channeled
did.
message.
I was like, oh, okay.
So as you continue to wake up,
Yeah.
what spiritual gifts did you get?
I mean, I'm still figuring everything out, but definitely like I'm starting to learn and trust my intuition. And I still don't know exactly what each thing is, but I will say, the more I meditate and the more that I tap in and like try to really talk to my higher self, the more I see and the more I understand. Intuition is never wrong. And my brain tells me things all the time. And sometimes I choose to listen and sometimes I don't. And then I find out later that it was right. Um, but I definitely think that I'm starting to see more. And it's still weird to me. And I know it's weird and it's a good weird.
It's a good weird.
It's a good weird.
But it's different.
It's different. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you say see, because I think this is a really important part for people who are waking up who don't yet quite know, do you see with your actual eyes or are you seeing with your third eye, like inside of your mind sight?
Yes, inside of my mind sight. It is not something that I'm just looking in this room and I can see. It is, I'm closing my eyes and I'm not even trying to see it. It just comes up.
Yeah.
And it happens. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're showing me this today. I'm like, that's fine.
So you've recently started seeing what we call light code. Us in the
Yes.
spiritual awakening community, we call light codes. And I will do like light codes with my hands. Some people will speak like language over people, and every dialect sounds different. But you're actually physically seeing some light language. What are you? And I have an audio that I want to share from when you had this big like sight awakening in the last few weeks. What are you experiencing with your sight when you see light language?
So it's kind of like a combination. I think I told you the other day, like I have like this and it's like right in my wrist joint and where I feel like my hands want, it's almost like I've been moving my muscles all day long. And like my hand wants to move in certain directions and connecting my fingers in certain ways.
What if you just let your finger
Like-
just be, what would it look like?
Like this.
Like this.
I don't know.
So when
what
I'm
it-
doing things,
it's-
it looks like I will be doing like mudras almost. It's like a mudra, like my middle finger, then my index finger, and it'll switch. And then I want to rotate my wrist around.
Yes, that's what it is. And it's it's more so this hand than it is this hand, but it is a lot of like twist and like pull almost, if that makes sense.
It's twisting and pulling for me too. And I talked to Tony Sposett, the TikTok history teacher, when I met him this last weekend in Michigan. And do you know what he told me? Because I was listening to his music in the car. I was just like, phenomenal. You listened to the song.
I did.
One of the
It was
songs.
so good.
He created the most magical song called Her Story for me. And it's just my words and music. And it just changed my life.
Yeah.
But when he told me, when he saw me doing it, he's like, you're a somatic feeler. You're a somatic person who feels everything. He's like, so you're moving and discharging energy from your body. And I was like, well, it feels like, light language activation, almost like spiritual surgery. Like I had a lot of pain one time and he sent me music and I was doing almost spiritual surgery over myself. My pain went away. Everything went away. I was screaming level 10 pain. He made me a song because of course he did. He's just an angel and played it over. I listened to it and it's got the binaural beats and the theta and all the different, brain waves that are healing to frequencies. And I started doing the light language and then I was feeling healed. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I'm really encouraging you to let your wrists and your hands just do what they feel.
I think I've stopped myself too for a while because I'm like, I don't know what this is. This is different. And, I think it's all about like letting go of kind of like what we talked about, letting go of judgment and letting your body accept the things that God is giving you. Because even sometimes when I close my eyes, I can see those light codes. And I started looking things up on TikTok about light codes just to understand what the visuals are. And it's the things that I'm seeing.
Tell me more.
Like all I know is like whenever I close my eyes sometimes, it's almost like, the little bar signs that you see, the bright lights.
Like the neon signs?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's like that, and it's just like little flashes here and a flash here, and they're all different, but they're all the same.
Are they symbols?
Yes, they're more symbols. They're, like, there's one that literally looks like almost like a key.
Yeah.
So they're different things and they're different shapes.
So what I
Yeah.
feel like that is happening is that we're starting to get our crystalline DNA and our crystalline light bodies are activating and turning on. And like my friend Tina, if I don't know if I've shared her TikTok with you
Yes,
before,
yeah.
she like speaks with dragons.
I
And I
like
know
her,
it
yeah,
sounds cuckoo
yeah,
for Cocoa Puffs, but it's just cool as shit, I think.
yeah.
And apparently I
Mm.
have a dragon guardian who's with me too. And I'm like, what? I've got a purple dragon. This is
Yeah.
cool. I'm like, hey, Bruce. I don't know. I'm just but, she's been drawing and channeling these light codes and she's making paintings of them. And when I see them, it's like I remember something. So when I see Tina's different drawings, I'm just like, okay, yes, that is a remembrance code. That's a remembrance code. And so
Mhm.
when you're seeing like a key, I believe that this is like in the Akashic records, is what on Lindsay Lee's episode we talk about is that we have this like crystalline DNA and this remembrance of this library of information, wisdom that's been like deceived and hidden and stored away and locked
Mhm.
away. And I believe that we are the key and that we are coming here to unlock not only ourselves, but everyone else. And so the fact that you're starting to see and starting to move, and what's so fascinating is that we ourselves have this internalized judgment or shame of what happens if my body moves alone in the dark in my
Yes.
room with my door locked. Like
And I don't know why, like, nobody's there. Why
programming.
why not be ourselves?
It's just programming. And I think that what you might also be afraid of, like, what comes after this? If I start doing this, what comes after?
That's true.
Right?
That's true. But then if we do that, then that's fear, and then fear wins, and we're not supposed to fear. We're supposed to lead with love and know that God's got us.
Yes.
And I think that, like you said, the programming is it's all about breaking it down.
It really is. And so I just encourage anybody who's listening who is feeling that like nudge of, okay, my hands want to do this. My body wants to sway like this. I want to make this noise with my voice. I want to go right with my left hand and see what comes out. And I'm a right-handed
Yeah.
person or, opposite. I want to start channeling. I want to start doing this. Like obviously set yourself in protection of like, I cloak myself in golden white light and I ask for Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, and like all my different spirit guides to kind of be with me in this loving, divine feminine, divine masculine way of balance
Mm-hmm.
because I never want to ever feel the darkness of what I've experienced before. And I know that in the
Amen.
Bible, if you believe in sacred texts like this, it says that you will not only battle against flesh and blood, but principalities, a supernatural order. And hello, it's been recorded.
Like, it's
It's
real.
happened. Lots of witnesses for me. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just what happens. And so when you have a lot of low density, low vibrational frequencies of shame, guilt, anger, resentment, greed, corruption, you're more susceptible to darker attachments. But
Yep.
when you're coming from a place, I think it's really once you cross, you have your root chakra, your sacral, your solar plexus, and you start getting to the heart, throat, third eye, and crown. When you start to elevate there, you'll see a frequency shift. You'll see a mindset shift. You'll
Mm-hmm.
see an expanded consciousness of oneness and love and just acceptance for all others. And I think that this is like the beautiful place that we all want to be at. Like no one's having a great time right now. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to be a human. Why not lean into something that makes you feel good?
Exactly.
And who cares what people think?
And
Like,
that's the
who
thing. You
cares?
shouldn't care.
We do.
We do.
I did.
But I think we're taught that though. Like those are all things that we're taught as we're kids. We don't care when we're little. But as you get older, like growing up, parents tell you like, hey, you don't
Mhm.
need to be doing that. That doesn't look good. Or,
Mhm.
where everything is worrying about what your friends think, what people
Mhm.
think. And it shouldn't be. But those are the way that we're taught.
100%. And this is like, I've talked about the book, The Four Agreements, which has really just helped me understand how we create our identities
Yeah.
and how our caregivers and the people who mold us in those first 7 years to 10 years of life really do shape who you become because you're agreeing that you're small. You're agreeing that you don't see anything. You don't have gifts. Hazel's almost 7. My daughter is almost 7 and she sees, she's been seeing for a while. And that was a really interesting situation for our family, right? And then you
Yeah.
have Lindsay Lee on the episode, and she's talking about how she was a child. And Hazel's been talking a lot this week about certain things,
Hmm.
and um, dark energies interact with her and try to trick her and tell her that the light's going to lose. The light's not going to win, and that dark things are going to happen. She'll tell me the things, and I don't want to say them here, but she'll tell me those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And so I played the video of Lindsay talking about Lindsay's childhood to Hazel, and I said, "Is this how you feel?" And she's like, "Yes." because she's so scared to go to sleep and she sees
Oh,
things.
baby.
I know. And so we cloak her in light. We cleared the house last
Yeah.
night. We walked around the house with Palo Santo and sage. And I
Good.
said, Hazel, what do we tell the darkness? Like, sorry, God loves you. You can't hurt me. And so
Yep.
like now we just do it kind of like sarcastically and silly. And so now she's just, it takes that steam away from them, or that power away from anything that's trying to like make you feel disempowered.
Yeah.
Whether that be a colleague, whether that be a boss, a parent, a partner, a sibling, anyone, an enemy, trying to make you feel disempowered, or something that everyone else can't see, but you can feel and see.
Yeah.
Understand that if you're walking through and feeling fear and fear is winning, you're not connected fully with
Yeah.
the light and with your power. Because when you are, that stuff can't touch you. It's so far away from you, or you just you don't resonate with it,
Mm-hmm.
that it can't harm you.
Yeah.
But I lived in real fear. You lived in real fear.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to die a lot. Did you think
Yeah.
you were going to
Oh,
die a lot?
yeah. I thought I was going to die so many times.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this may be it.
Yeah.
But you're not. That's just the contrast, right? And really, you're safe.
You're safe.
And I tell myself that all the time. I am safe. I am loved. I am protected by God's white and gold light. You have no power over me. You can leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that all the time.
I love it so much because it really does reset everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I talked about it on this episode or not, or one of our episodes. But when I was interfacing with some really scary stuff at one point in time, like I wasn't aware of what to do. Like spirit just started speaking through me. And it was a really childlike voice. And Cole was with me. We have an audio recording of the recap after it happened, not when it
Yeah.
happened, but like minutes after. And I was like, Cole, did you hear that little voice saying, God loves you. I love you. And I was like, what the heck was that? And whatever was on me fled. And I remember like this energy was like wrapping around my body, wrapping around my neck, and I couldn't breathe. I was literally like, and he was like, what the fuck what do I do? Do
Yeah.
I call an exorcism? I'm like, what do I do? And funny story. Always goes back to Kelly Clarkson. Love me some Kelly Clarkson. That's like, I listen to her all the time. And I had him put on Clarkson at this point because it had helped 2 other times. And so he puts on Kelly Clarkson, catching my breath. And I went from gasping for air, and then I started saying, I love you, to this thing that was wrapping up my body. And I started belting and singing, catching my breath. And I was like, how am I singing? How am I singing right now? I was just gasping for air seconds ago. I put on some high frequency music and I'm now catching my breath and I'm actually able to speak and clear, and it fled and never came
Because
back.
it's the high frequencies.
It's the high frequencies. And I know it sounds so silly because it's not like intentionally 432 hertz frequency music, but it was high vibe music that made me feel empowered. And when I did it, the intention is all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this darkness flee.
It doesn't matter. Everything has a frequency.
Yes.
The trees, the grass,
Everything. Music.
music,
Everything.
water. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything has a frequency. And like you said, whenever you're at the low frequency or whatever is at the lower frequency, if you use a higher frequency, it's almost like a wash away for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can either rise with it or you can be gone.
Did you find that when you were going through like the lowest parts of like the things that you were battling personally or health wise, that the negative thoughts of everything is wrong, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it kind of attached to you.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like cloaked on you, that it was like a dark cloud. Is that how you kind of felt when you were in that low vibe place?
Oh, yeah. I think I felt all the feelings. Everything was negative. There was not, I almost could not find a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was alone. I was unhealthy. I don't know why God was doing this to me. Like everything was just falling apart in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just no way to live. And sometimes I think people think, I don't have a way out of this. What am I going to do? But really, like, I think if you can find that higher vibration and find something, ground your body, do all the things and really talk to God, like it will bring you out.
100%. And I think what's so crazy, Ashtyn, is that we're both OTs, and like the fact that we have a job where spirituality is in our practice framework.
I know. Like no wonder we're OTs, right? Like I feel like we were supposed to do this, because I remember when I was in school, I was like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. And somebody talked about physical therapy, and I was like, And then my aunt did OT, and I was like, I guess so. And it just like calls to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, obviously there's a reason.
Obviously there's a reason. I was going to be a PT from the age of 7 until 23 or 22, whenever I had my advisor tell me, "Oh, you're not competitive enough." I'm like, "I'm on the dean's list, the honor roll. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? I've got 100 hours." And they're like, "No, you should look at this kind of degree because UTSA just wanted you to graduate from their
Yeah.
program versus do the bridge." And I called the grad school and I was like, "Is this true?" And they're like, "Sweetie," I'm crying. They're like, "Sweetie, no, but have you heard of OT?" And I was like, "What is OT?" Like for 20 years, I want to be a PT. I never even
Yeah.
heard of OT. And then I go and I look up occupational therapy on their website. And I was like, in that moment, such divine intervention. I go, "Oh, I'm an OT, aren't I?" They're like, "Probably so, baby." And I was like crying so like now happy tears of the fact that life's
Yep.
rejection was God's protection. I love my physical therapist, but I'm not one.
Yep.
I'm 100% occupational therapist, the way my brain thinks and everything. But then the fact that I chose like one of the only professions where I could do all these other things of lifespan. Also, there's evidence-based practice for spirituality. And who's targeting that? Who's doing that? Who cares about the spirit of people, if not OTs? We
Oh,
do.
100%.
We do.
Everything, I think about it, like we work on emotional regulation and how, like, what better way to work on that
Feeling
than,
safe.
yeah,
And I teach two and up, really. I mean, under two could probably get it because they're taking everything in. But I had a 2-year-old with selective mutism who I was teaching emotional regulation, vagus nerve stimulation, and I am safe. And then I watched her just blossom and start talking. And I was like, wait, what is happening right now? But when you infuse our profession with love,
yep.
and I was doing Reiki and I started doing you do cranial sacral, but you did cranial sacral on me. And I was like, oh my God, what is this energy that was helping
Like
my.
you can feel it, like it heats up and
Mhm.
like between my hands, like your body, you can feel the energy. It doesn't even have to be on you. Like, the cranial is just light touch therapy. That's all it is. And it's there just to release like pain, tension, or anxiety in the deep tissues in the body. And it's things that we don't even know that we're holding on to.
I will never forget. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm about to talk about.
Yep.
I had taken, I'm just going to say I have a history of, because I don't want to claim it anymore. I have a history of polycystic ovarian syndrome and endometriosis and
Hmm.
severe pain since 15 to now. And it's been a really hard life. And if anyone has struggled with that, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of things that give you relief. And I was taking, all the medicines and the heating pads and like nothing was salt tablets, like nothing was helping. And I remember coming into the office and I was just like crying. I was like, it hurts so bad. I can barely walk. And you're like, you want cranial? And I'm like, is that going to help? I was like, in my brain, cranial sacral is like here, my head, and like I don't know what I thought. I had never really experienced you do it on me before.
Yeah.
And then you put your hands on my ovaries and the pain melted away. And I was like, Ashtyn, I don't feel any pain. How do I not feel any pain? And you were just like, it's just energy. And I'm like, well, I know that with Reiki. And like we did a Reiki class
Yeah.
together with
Yeah.
Melissa. But then I'm just like, wait, this is cool too. Like, what are we doing? And it's that chi life force energy, the prana going into the body
Hmm.
and sending love frequency. And it literally does help.
That's what I was just about to say. So whenever I do any type of cranial, in my head, I'm telling your body that it's okay. You are safe to let it go. And you have to kind of send that love and send that measure of safety and let it know like you're okay because again, frequencies, right? And so it's
Hmm.
like it's okay. And then like once you do, sometimes it takes a while because some people's bodies are very on guard and like it takes a lot of love and a lot of patience and I will literally say when you are ready, it is okay. And I will hold that spot, but then it'll come out and be done. I'll even do it to myself whenever I have a headache. And like Josh, when he has a headache, I'm like, come on.
I know.
Yeah.
And I do Reiki, but it's like, it looks so different for every person. And I always say to anyone who's looking at me, I was like, it might not look like your traditional Reiki. It's going to look whatever the heck my intuitive hands want to do. Right.
Yeah.
And then I incorporate the tuning forks with it. And when I'm working with, I created the caregiver healing
Mm-hmm.
program at my clinic and we're working with moms who are really dysregulated. And I was like, all right, what do you want to work on today? They're like tuning forks and Reiki. And I was like, 10-4. And they leave 1,000 pounds lighter. Their anxiety melts away. They're embodied and they're empowered. We call back our power. We do all these like beautiful mantras. And I watched them heal before my eyes in a 45-minute session. And I'm like, what did I just do? But like my hands turn into little oven mitts. They're as hot as can be.
Yep.
And they're seeing things, they're seeing colors. And I had this mom that I was working on. I was like, you can see let me know what you see. Like I tell them and remind them, like, you can do this. Like it's not something, I'm not doing anything to you. You can do this on your own. I'm facilitating and like reminding that you can see. And so I'm doing tuning forks. And I was like, let me know if you see any colors or any visions. And some people will see themselves in a very etheric way. Some people will see colors. And this was the coolest thing that happened this week. So I had the tuning fork on her belly and I said, all right, let me know if you see any colors. And she saw yellow. And like I said, open your eyes. And it was the yellow tuning fork for
I
the
was about
solar
to ask,
plexus.
is it for different
For each of the
chakras?
And so then I'm at her head and I'm throwing a curveball at this point and I'm doing third eye and crown. And so I worked on her third eye and then I'm going between the left and the right ears to kind of get that binaural beat experience and going around her head. And she was like, oh my God, I'm seeing like blue and purple like merging together. And I was going like this over her head and face.
Crazy.
And I said, open your eyes. And she opened her eyes and there she was seeing both. And I was like, we just do. And like, it's just so cool. Like, and the joy I see it bring over people. And, like people being afraid that maybe is this of God? And then I'm like, you're a divine being of God. And they're like, what? How do you know I'm thinking these things? I'm like, I'm just hearing and feeling and I'm sensing you and I'm telling you what I know you need to hear in that moment. And I just feel like, why not do alternative healing? Why not do something that is beautiful and provides peace? Like, why is this like a stigma or, weird?
If it feels good, it is good.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm learning. Like, know in your gut if this is not right.
Yes.
And
you'll feel it.
You'll feel it.
You're like, gotta go.
Some people have different thoughts and opinions on it, and that is totally okay. You can have that.
Yeah.
But for me, if it feels good, it is good. And all of those things are wonderful. I'm like, I am down for it. If it's weird, check me in. I want to try it.
Yeah, because why not? Like I have done everything. I've done, I was on, when you were with me, I was on all those medicines.
Yep.
I was in so much severe pain. I had every symptom of all the medicines combining together. It was just really hard to live.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really tired, I'm really wired, or I'm like in a lot of pain still, or I'm dizzy, like all the different fun side effects that come with each of those medications. And I'm not saying to not be on them if you need them, be on them. But for me, I was deteriorating. I feel like I was literally deteriorating before people's eyes. And then when I found God, I slowly stopped taking all the medications and I stopped seeing all my specialists. I was like, I'm healing. How am I healing without all of these interventions?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was my belief that I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it was a higher power that was guiding me to the remembrance and telling me that I was safe. And when I finally felt safe, like my recording is like, you hear me go, my whole body relaxed. And I didn't realize how tight I had been.
You do not realize, I did the same thing. You do not realize how tense your body is. And it's not just one muscle, it's your entire body. And then what happens when you ground yourself and you are actually like calm and at peace, it's almost like your brain is like, whoa, what's happening? This is weird. This isn't right. And you're like, tense yourself back up. And it's like you have to like retrain yourself to get out of that thought process.
100%. And so before I'm feeling called right now, just because I feel like people are like listening to us and like, okay, this is interesting. You've piqued my interest. What is OT? What can I do to help myself? So I'm going to share a couple of things that I know can help with regulating the nervous system whenever you're feeling like super dysregulated. And let me know if you want to share anything, if there's anything that you've done that has helped. But I like to cross my arms in like a butterfly position like this, and I'll do the tapping and I'll do a deep breath in and I'll hum. Big breath in. Now, why this works is that it's stimulating the vagus nerve at the throat level.
Feels so good.
It feels so good. I feel so like neutral right now. I'm melting. And like it helps to stimulate the vagus nerve and crossing left and right brain and getting that rhythm. You can feel it, right? And so it immediately brings you into that state of now, the state of being in this peace versus in the future or the past where you can't control anything. And I really, really teach these vagus nerve stimulations, crossing midline exercises because I find it's helped me. You can rub your ears and do like ear circles to rub the branches of the vagus nerve.
Going all the way down.
Going back up. And you'll feel people's ears be really tight. And when it's really tight, you're actually in like quite a bit of tension. And you need to relax.
It's probably most people.
Oh my gosh. I touch little kids' ears. I'm like, oh my God, they're like super tight.
Yeah.
What's going on with you? There's peace fingers where you can put your peace fingers like this and go in front of and behind.
I do like this one.
This one feels really nice. Yeah. And again, you're stimulating the front and the back of the vagus nerve. And then whenever I was feeling really, really panic attacky, because I was on Xanax, prescribed Xanax for panic attacks because I was having like panic disorder, like at work, at home all the time. I was like, I could not breathe. And you feel like you're going to die. If you've ever had a panic attack, you feel you're going to die.
It's awful.
It's awful. It's the worst thing in the world. And so like you need something that's a rescue med,
And
right?
you literally can't, it's like you can't control it. Your body is just completely gone.
Yeah. And it's very, very scary to be in that space. And then I learned about the diver's reflex, and I learned about ice and the power of putting an ice pack on your chest, and power of drinking ice cold water, and it stimulates.
Or even in our hand.
And in your hand, put it in your neck, your hands, water, like ice water, ice bath, face in the ice water.
Yeah.
Something
Sometimes
quick.
like whenever I was going through all that, if I just walked outside, if it was cold, even just walking outside barefoot, and just being in the cold, and it just like hits you.
Because it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system to get you out of fight or flight and into rest and digest, where you can actually feel safe.
Yep.
And then you can use the mantra of I am safe, right? I am safe in my body now. I am safe in my body every day. The EFT tapping, or you're tapping on the different meridian point.
I'm just learning about this, and I really like it. But I sometimes it's hard for me to remember like the point.
Listen, but I honestly feel like it's just any point on my body now. I'm just because I get relief anywhere I'm at, but there's meridians. Yeah, I go like it's above the eyebrow, the side of the eyebrow to the side of my eye, under my chin, under my nose.
It goes in a flow.
Under my chin, my sternum. I go under my armpit on the other side, under my armpit on the other side, and I do the side of my pinky, of my hand, and then the top of my head. Now, I don't know if that's the exact flow order, but that's the order that I tend to like go in.
When you do it, how many do you do?
Oh man, I just start tapping. I'm not, you know how we do the fear paralysis tapping, with the kids. And so we'll do the cha, 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 chas on the different points. I don't find it's as structured in that way. I find that I'm just like, I'll be tapping in with my patients and I'm like, I am safe. I'm safe in my body today. I'm safe in my body every day. In this moment, I am safe. And then I'll say, I forgive myself. Oh, and boy, does that one bring up emotions. Everyone, like I'm tapping my whole body right now. Like when I say I forgive myself and the parent or any person repeats it, they can't even say the words.
Because we hold so much in our bodies.
I have children right now. I did it with a 3-year-old yesterday, and I said, I am safe. And she just looked at me. And I said, oh, you don't feel safe in your body. And then I was like, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. Oh. I am pretty. I'm pretty. I am safe.
Nothing.
And I was like, okay. We've got to work on safety. And so you'll actually see your subconscious mind come to life and be like, nope, we cannot say those words. I do not feel safe. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
And so if you're feeling that resistance, then that is a huge sign that you need potentially a great occupational therapist, or you need to do some, breath work and meditation and guided meditation, and just know that you are safe in your body and that this is the time for you to heal, my friend.
Like, which is so crazy that we can do that as professionals and to really help people. And it's not just traditional OT sitting down at a table.
Doing fine motor tasks.
Yeah. Like this is so much more motivating and so much more just, I guess, touching and emotional overall. And I think that watching your clients transform and even transforming a family, because anytime you work with kids, you work with the family, and you're not changing just them, you're changing everyone.
You know what's really funny is that because I'm teaching all the OTs, actually all the staff, how to do things here.
That's so good.
It's so fun.
I love
it's
that.
so fun. And I go around, I talk to schools, and I teach, if anybody ever wants me to come to your school, I'm here. I'm teaching emotional regulation is for everyone. Tips and tricks for teachers in the classroom, because, oh my God, ground zero right now.
Yeah.
Teachers need it. Admin needs it. The students need it. The families need it. Every human needs it. And, I started doing it with the therapist, and the therapists are doing it with the kids. And so guess what we're all doing all day long? Everyone's stimulating their vagus nerve. Everyone's building vagal tone, and everyone's building nervous system resilience. And I'm like, hey, look at you go over there doing some humming breathing in the corner with your patient. And I'm just seeing it all over. It's not just me, right? And we have goals for it now, and we're targeting it.
Love it.
I know, like I've changed everything about what we do here. And I just think it's so cool because the body is the medicine. The body is the medicine. And I think that's why, like, when you regulate your nervous system, you actually can find God.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yes.
Because when you're so busy and distracted, you can't hear.
It's exactly what I was about to say, because your brain is go, 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 go. So how can you hear God when he's trying to get your attention? You can't. So he has to quiet everything. You have to quiet everything so that you can hear him, because he's trying to get your attention. Like when things are happening in your life, it's because God is like, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah. And, for me, it's funny because I've experienced God as feminine and masculine and they and all. And like, so we say he a lot, but it is such a nurturing, loving mother too. And it's like the Sophia Christ consciousness comes through me. And she's just like, it's like a mom. It's just like this mama who wants us to do good. And I think we lived in this patriarchy for so long where it's just been
The
hustle and
father.
bustle and everything is,
Yeah.
and yeah, God the Father is great. It's that nurture, it's support, but the mother and like leaning into our maternal side and leaning into what a matriarchy might feel like if we actually let women build a world that is for all. Because
Yep.
who traditionally raises households? Women.
Women do.
Who traditionally is
So
running the
nurturing.
world?
Mhm.
Men.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I'm looking at it from, I guess, a couple of different standpoints, but I see exactly what you're saying. You're talking about,
Structures, power
yes, yeah,
structure. Who's at the table? Go take a picture, look at any CEO board,
that's true. That's all men.
right? There's a lot of men, right? And a lot of not very melanated men. There's a lot of whiteness. I think that we could bring diversity. We can bring, this matriarchal love to the table and be like, hey, if you trust me with your household, why don't you trust me with the business? If you trust me with your household, why don't you trust me with the world? Right? Like
Yep.
women bring life into this world. We are sacred vessels of life. We breathe life into everything. Every person has a mother.
I think for so long, though, we were made to feel like we didn't, and like we don't have a voice and we don't have a place, like our place is at home.
Hmm.
And I think that things are shifting and women are being called, and it's like stand up, find your voice, find yourself. It's time.
It's time. It really is time to rise. And it's like, it's not this power struggle. It's not that. It's just follow my lead and I will show you the way
Yep.
to peace, love, and compassion for yourself and all others.
Yep.
Because when you have that, you're balanced.
Yeah.
But you do have to have this balance between action and this masculine energy and nurturing and resting and this feminine, the duality.
Mm-hmm.
Duality of light and dark, duality of masculine, feminine. Like there has to be balance. Like if you're too much of anything, you're in a puddle of tears crying, or you're too forceful and you're aggressive. Like you have to be balanced in that energy, which it took me years to get to.
Yeah.
I think I lived in fight or flight and I was this masculine energy a lot. And then I was finally like so soft and sad girl for years that I'm now
Yeah.
finally like, no, I think I'm just going to settle in the middle. It feels really nice here. Have you also kind of found that as
Oh,
you
yeah.
healed, it was the sway of like, I have to be in control. I can't trust anybody. It's all me. So you know what? Maybe I just surrender to God and let him like take the wheel.
That's
Kind
the
of.
way I feel about things. I'm like, well, this sucks, but that's okay. God's got me. Like, I'm gonna be fine. Like, it's all gonna work out. I'm not gonna stress about it. And even now in my life, like I have things going on and I'm like, I may be hurt and I may be sad, and that's okay because it's okay to feel my feelings. But what's not okay is to worry, because God's got my back and I
Mhm.
am okay.
You are okay because you are safe. You're right where you need to be at every given moment in time, and everything is always working out for your highest and greatest good.
Exactly.
And I wanted to ask you, like, because you mentioned something earlier where the energy of this question, I feel like you've walked through some really hard things. I've walked through some really hard things, but we give gratitude for it.
Hmm.
How can we find this place of giving gratitude for the hardest things of our life?
Hard. That's a hard question. I think it's really more on maybe, oh my God, that's so hard.
It's really hard, especially when you're in it.
Yeah. And I think that like you and I are in different places in it. And I think for me, I just know that I need to have gratitude because I know that God loves me. I know that life is hard. It's not going to be easy. If that was easy, what would life be? Like God put me here so that I could lean on him. There are things in my life, if everything was easy, what would I need God for? And I think that that's probably the way that I look at that. And just knowing that all God wants for us is love and unity. And I think that that's the biggest thing for sure.
Absolutely. And I think like for me, some of these things almost broke me. Almost took my life a few times because it was so heavy and hard. And through my tribe of you guys and my spiritual besties and my husband and like my family, I was able to find that light. They reminded me of my light.
Hmm.
But I swear now I understand. I understand that I came here to as a sovereign being of light, a soul who came to learn the contrast of this earthly 3D plane of what it is like to have suffering and what it is it like to have joy. What is it like to have poverty? What is it like to have wealth? What is it like to have illness? What is it like to have health? What is it like to have hate? What is it like to have love? Because my soul was so curious and it was non-physical and it couldn't feel. And you know how excited my soul is and how some jealous these other souls are. They're not yet feeling
Yeah.
it. They want to come dive down to earth because, oh my God, if you survived earth school, oh, you're a warrior, right? And not only did you survive earth school, you got through the hardest battles. You, in fact, survived the unsurvivable, and you still smile and you find love and you love other people. And I think that is like the lessons for me have been such a place of strength and growth. And,
Yeah.
I never get here without those trials and tribulations. And how can I ever empathize and sympathize for people if I've never known what it was like to not be able to pay my bills and
Amen.
feed my family and get out of bed, walk, talk, not have shaking. Like I remember like that was getting made fun of for those things, or like no, it wasn't really happening because I could put on a
Mhm.
mask and fake it. And I'm like, you have no idea my physical suffering because I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to mask. And so like this human experience is so complex.
Mhm.
It's so magical. And if we could just surrender to the fact that we actually don't know it all. I don't know it all. You don't know it all. No human knows it
Lord,
all.
no.
Until you are back with source, you don't remember all of it.
Yeah.
But you can get these like little moments of all right, there's something more. There's
Mhm.
something more. And you're not here just to suffer. You're here to expand and contract and grow and learn because God is curious
Mhm.
and not duplicitous. And that's why everyone has a different story.
Well, your mind knows. Like, you get, like you said, you get like blips of things and that happen in life, or something that pops into your brain, and it's like a small remembrance of things, and you're like, that seems familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the light code video that I shared, that people were showing, like a video of that happening and like shooting down. I told you that I had a remembrance of seeing this before. I'm like, I have seen this. I have watched this.
Yep.
I don't know where, but I have seen it. And like your brain just knows.
Yeah. And I think that this is a really good moment to kind of segue for your most recent news site.
Oh,
Can I share this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I have an audio that you sent me. Was it last week? I feel like it was
It was the weekend before Thanksgiving.
the weekend before Thanksgiving, right? And so, we're all going through things, and you were going through something very acute, and it was a very, very painful situation that you're walking through. And, I was there for you as the best I could, not physically, but just in spirituality and loving you and in text
Mhm.
and messages and video or audios. And I think you felt that spirit and remembrance because I was like, Ashtyn, unfortunately, your soul signed up for this, and that other person's soul signed up for this.
Yeah.
And I'm real sorry, but you must learn that you're one and that there's a mirror for you. What do you have to learn? You're like, oh, I don't want to learn this.
Yeah, I was like, did I really sign up for this? I
Like,
don't know.
there's no coincidences. I think so. I'm so sorry. And then I said, remember your power. Remember to find your peace and find your present moment and stop worrying about things you can't control and surrender. Right? Then you wander out into the woods. So set me up. You go out. You just like, I'm going to go meditate. What happened?
I wasn't even out in the woods. I was at in a cabin,
Uh-huh.
and I was by myself, and Reston was napping, and it was just time to be alone. I was just sitting on the couch.
Oh, so you were
I was
inside.
inside.
Oh,
I wish I could have been outside, but I was watching Reston, so couldn't leave her by herself.
yeah.
But I was all by myself, and I was like, all right, now it's time to connect with yourself, Ashtyn. Like, you really need to connect with you and just let go. And so I think that's what I finally did.
So you just kind of let your mind drift off and you weren't listening to a guided meditation.
Yes.
You were just one
First
with yourself.
time I've ever shut my brain off, because usually I'm like meditating. I'm like, what's that noise over there? I'm like, oh, I hear a bird. And, it doesn't matter what it is, just any little noise can distract me. And I'm like, no, close your mind. And then I'll hear something else. So I didn't do that. I actually, like, for the first time, just eased myself in and closed it.
It was pretty incredible. And when I got it, when you sent me the voice memo, I was smiling so big because then I was getting downloads. And I think I actually sent you, I think I sent you a channel at some point. I don't remember if it was right after this or whatever, but I remember seeing what you were seeing, but in a different way. And I was like, oh my God, she's connecting with this and this and this. And I just knew, I was like, Ashtyn has up leveled. She is now, we're getting closer to where I'm at, where she can see. And again, no level is better than another. It's just different
No.
frequencies. It's like
Yeah.
turning to like 104.1 versus 100.3. Like it's
Yeah.
just different stations.
Like, didn't you tell me, like, I sent you my message at 12:34, but then you didn't see it till 11:11? And I was like, well,
And I
everything's
was like,
aligning.
and there's the alignment. Okay, so this is you sending your voice memo to me of what you saw when you went into this meditation.
Mhm.
You ready?
Ready?
All right.
I had some time by myself today, and Rustin's napping, and so I'm sitting inside the cabin while she naps. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I got to take care of myself. I started to meditate. This was the first time, Amber, that I've actually been able to shut my brain off from thinking, other than saying, yes, God, thank you, Jesus. I ask questions to my higher self, and for God. And um, basically, what I was being shown, it was very interesting. By the way, it started out, all of a sudden, this vision of clouds came to me, like I was up in the clouds. And then there was this little bitty hole where I could kind of see down, and I could see Earth a little bit, if this makes sense. I don't know.
Mm.
And then it showed me, like, there were like these flashes of light, and it almost looked like a fist coming towards me or something, but they would just flash, and then another flash and another flash. If it makes sense, though, it was in like a fish shape, almost like a comet or like a something.
Mm.
And then it went away. And then um, I had another thing that popped up that was almost like it was like almost on top of this cliff. But at the top of this cliff, there was like this almost, it was almost like a ladder of stone. And the only way to move and to, like, I guess in a sense, move forward was to go down the ladder. And so at the bottom of that, all of a sudden popped up this beautiful lit up cross. And it was really weird. It was almost like, in order to get closer to God, you have to go through. I feel like I'm crying, so I feel like that has to be right. Like, in order to get where I need to be, I have to follow this ladder and these steps, and I have to do these things to get there, is what it was basically showing me. And then I swear to you, I was seeing these light codes just coming up, just little blips, and it was almost like, those little signs that you plug in, the little LED, like bright light, like bar signs. It was like that, and it would light up and then kind of diminish. And then another one would light up and kind of diminish. And I knew that's what it was.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just very interesting, but I think it just, again, they were showing me that this is the path you take. This is the path you have chosen. This is the path that you're gonna make it. And at the end of this,
Mm.
you're gonna be as close as you can be to God and to yourself. And I think that's what I kind of gathered from it. Anyways, it was just very interesting. I just wanted to share it with you.
That is amazing. And I see the tears in your eyes. What are you feeling right now?
Happy. Like, there's just such a big understanding. I think it's just peace in my heart. I think I just feel good. Like, I know that God's like right there. And like that was just the sign that I think I really needed to understand and understand the things that I'm going through and the things that I've been through. Like, to get where I'm supposed to be, I have to do these things. And it's only going to get me, like, I guess, not what I've been praying for, my happiest, healthiest, most authentic self. And just bring the fire back in my soul. And I think that, I don't know, I can visualize every bit of it as it was saying it, and just how, like, right when it happened. And it was the most crazy, beautiful thing.
Yeah, like there's another one that you sent me that was 18 seconds long, and you're just like, I know that might sound crazy, but I think you're the only person I can tell this to. And I was like, yes, please tell me the things that you're seeing, because there's no shame in what you're seeing, because what you're
Yeah.
seeing is a message. And it was a message that I was told needed to be shared.
Yeah.
And I remember like my message back to you when I texted you was, welcome home.
Yeah.
Welcome to the remembrance. Now that you remember, you can never go back.
Yeah.
Because now you remember that we're all one. And then when you see that everyone is one, you could never wish harm upon another, no matter how much they hurt
No.
you. You're just like, you're hurting too, aren't you?
As much as I want to be angry about certain things that are going on or that have gone on in my life, I have so much love for all these people. Whereas the old version of me would not have done that. I would have victimized myself and I would have been angry and like held on to situations. And I don't want to do that. I want peace in my life. And my higher self showed me this is how you're going to get it.
Yeah. And I remember crying and thinking, oh my God, like, am I a part of this person's journey of
Yeah.
helping her remember?
Yeah.
And here we are together today. And I think you're so brave for being here in the middle of your storm. And like you even said, how you saw it was that you were the eye, you see over into the eye of the storm and you can see clearly.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the storm, when you're in the hurricane itself, it's like, it's so chaotic and everything is blowing you this way and that way and distraction, pain, fear. Be scared of this. Like, what about this one? And like, it's so scary being in the storm.
You're so right.
And then you step into the eye and you look around and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool. It's kind of beautiful. Wow,
It's a
look
whole
at all
different
this.
view.
It's a whole different view. There's clarity. There's peace.
Yep.
They're like, this storm will pass.
Yeah.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because I am safe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And that's immediately what I felt. It was almost literally like looking at the eye of a hurricane and you're leaning down and you're like, oh, okay, that's life. This is what life is like. And it's a completely different version versus like the distorted version that I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, I want everybody to know that just because you're in the storm right now doesn't mean you're not going to make it through it.
Right.
Like God's going to see you through every.
There's a peace on the other side that is otherworldly that you have been praying for. And even if you are not a praying person, your soul wishes for reprieve. Your soul wishes to be released from pain, from suffering, from loss and lack. You want to feel seen. You want to feel witnessed. You want to feel loved, validated, and supported. And only you can really do that.
Yeah.
And then God.
You
right?
have to
Like,
do the work.
everybody else will see that. Your light will shine so bright on the other side of this once you find your light within. And then you get to be the lighthouse for everyone else. You get to guide them home.
Yeah.
Not because you're righteous, not because you're better than everyone else, but because you've been through hell and back and you have risen from the ashes of your own life and you found light on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's why this podcast is called Light Beyond the Ashes. It's because I'm here to not only tell my story of how I found light beyond the ashes and became the phoenix, but how other people have too. And just to be a part of your story and to have you be a part of my story and to share this moment with you, I have the deepest gratitude for your power, for your courage, and for your patience with me, even though I wasn't always the easiest person, I think, as I was healing, and you just loved me. You loved every version of me, and I love every version of you. And I'm just so grateful that I get to call you my soul sister and my best friend. You're just the best.
Oh, you're the best.
And I love you.
I love you too.
And I think that this episode is really personal for both of us.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, like go plug anything. You don't really create too much content on TikTok yourself yet, but it's more of just knowing that there is peace to be found.
Yes,
There's love.
I agree. I think that's the biggest thing is letting people know that love is love is love, and it doesn't matter who gives it and how you get it. What matters is that you are loved. And I think that there's enough for everyone to go around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not pie. It's just love.
Just love. Although we like pie.
We like pie, especially in the South. We like pie.
But it's just love.
It's just love, and there's more than enough for everyone.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Ashtyn, for being here today.
You're
I'm
welcome.
so excited. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode. And this is just a triumphant story. I feel like just seeing a friend go through so much and to have found the light within on the other side of this is just, you couldn't ask for better for your friend, right? So as a reminder, when you heal, I heal. And when I heal, you heal. And when we all heal, we rise. You're not alone. You're safe. We're in this together. We've got this.